Tyler, I'm a bit of a stats nerd. So when I look at Georgia Tech stats, aside from the obvious rushing totals, I like to look at that number one receiver. And in the last few years, it's been Ricky June. You always have one guy, sometimes two. In that 2014 run, I think he had two with Smelter and Waller that don't catch a whole lot of passes, but the yards per average, the yards per catch is always pretty stellar. For Ricky June this year, pretty pedestrian, 15 yards per catch. Nothing wrong with that, but it's usually like 23, 24 yards per catch. You mentioned some struggles throwing the ball downfield, but that's one thing that people don't readily think of if they don't watch this particular triple option attack is that I think maybe the perfect line for the starting quarterback, whether it's Thomas and now Marshall, would be, they hit 8 for 15, but, they chuck it for about 150 yards because they hit for big plays once the defense was sucked in with an effective running attack. So this is obviously going to be not something we're going to see over and over and over, unless Tech, of course, gets behind, but that's going to be crucial in pulling off the upset Saturday night.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially against Clemson, because Tech's just not going to score enough simply by running up the middle against that stout defensive line. So, I think he's going to need to complete 10 to 15 passes possibly, which Johnson's talked about. He wants to throw the ball 15 times a game, where it's been more like, I think, 7 or 8 so far. June's a great receiver. He's maybe the best blocking wide receiver I've seen at Georgia Tech. He's been just phenomenal that way. He's not very fast, though, and I think that's part of the reason he's not getting those explosive plays that Smelter, who was, I think ran a 4.5, was able to do, or obviously Demarius. So that's been an issue because him and Stewart, neither one of them are very fast. So over the top, it seems like maybe A-backs will be the more likely to catch something deep with Quay Searcy is a pretty good deep threat on those. So, yeah, you're saying 15 yards a carry. June has mostly been used for 10 to 15 yard curls and comebacks with Marshall, which I think Johnson's been comfortable calling since he's struggled to throw the ball deep accurately so far.
I know sometimes it comes up, how in the world would Georgia Tech get an NFL caliber receiver to come play there and catch 15 or 18 passes a season?
Yep.
But they do. And then I've heard NFL scouts make the comment that they know that they can go for a good blocking wide receiver at Georgia Tech. And it doesn't sound right, because why in the world do you get a wide receiver that blocks? But it is an important part of the total, the complete package there at wide receiver. And, we really like this guy's speed and cutting ability and hands and so forth. But we know he can block, because otherwise he's not going to be on the field in this offense.